welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips.
The theme for today's show is authenticity. I think that these days we make enlightenment, it's got connotations of being this ideal state of unattainable perfection. And so trying to reach a state of authenticity to me seems much more attainable and much more in tune with reality. So what is authenticity? Well, the dictionary definition for authenticity is true and accurate. So another way to say this is to say it's being real, or not buying into the world of illusion that surrounds us, or not allowing the false-made self or ego to dominate. So I thought it was really interesting to examine where I was being inauthentic in my own life, and I found that actually it's quite everywhere, and I think it is for most people. So, for example, on an emotional level, how can we be inauthentic or unenlightened on an emotional level? So one way is by invalidating or burying your emotions. And another way is accepting certain emotions and rejecting other ones. I think that a lot of us have problems with anger, fear, and we label them as negative emotions, and we prefer to be experiencing the more positive ones. And another way in which we can be emotionally inauthentic is by having weak boundaries. So that example is when you would say yes when you mean no. We can also be inauthentic on a physical level. And so that would be where you ignore and don't take care of your body's needs, or where you avoid the physical day-to-day life. Or even what some people do, which is to devalue the personal and the physical relative to the spiritual levels of reality. All of those are examples of being inauthentic on a physical level. And of course, we can do this on a mental level as well. So an example here would be using cognitive reasoning to escape emotional feelings. And there are other ways that we escape as well from our mental worries. And so the classic examples are people escaping from their life by taking drugs and drinking too much and all of those other addictions. How do you know if you're in a state which is not in alignment? And I think it really is any time that you espouse a spiritual principle, so you believe in a particular spiritual principle, and you might constantly find yourself quoting this spiritual principle, but if you are not living in accordance with that spiritual principle that you are espousing, then you're being inauthentic, or in other words, being unenlightened. So a typical spiritual principle that we hear a lot these days from people in the spiritual community is, you create your own reality. I create my own reality. Well, if you say that you create your own reality and then you spend a significant amount of your time worrying about what's going to happen to you, then you're out of alignment with that principle. If you believe you create your own reality and then you visit a fortune teller and want them to predict your future for you, then you are also out of alignment with that principle of creating your own reality. Another spiritual principle that is espoused within various spiritual communities is unconditional love. So if you say that you believe in unconditional love, and then you're in resistance to somebody or something, then you're not in alignment with that spiritual principle. If you believe that it's a benevolent universe and then you find yourself distrusting others, then you're also out of alignment in a state of not being enlightened or in a state of being inauthentic. And then, of course, the other one, the big one in the spiritual community over the last few years has been the power of now, being present, being in the here and now. If you are constantly going over the past in your mind, beating yourself up for something that you didn't say or you should have said, then you're out of alignment with that principle of being in the now. Or likewise, if you're always projecting your thoughts and your consciousness into the future, then you're also out of alignment with that principle of being in the now. And the other one, of course, is if you believe in an abundant universe, and then you operate from a fear of not having enough, you're also out of alignment. So, once again, this is Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley, and we are taking your calls. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love you to call in. So please do pick up the phone, and like I said earlier, you can ask about absolutely anything you like. You can ask about relationships. You can ask about career. You can ask about money, health, life purpose, spiritual abilities, or any psychic experiences that you have had that you can't explain, for example. All right, so the theme of today's show is being authentic. And so we've talked about ways in which we are not authentic. So what does it look like to be authentic? So being authentic is, to me anyway, it means that you express and allow your emotions. So you don't bury your emotions, you don't stuff them inside of yourself. You allow yourself to just completely acknowledge, well, right now I feel very angry. Or right now I'm grief-stricken, or I'm really upset. Whatever it is, don't bury it, don't suppress it, but just allow the emotion to flow fully through you. Also, let go of fear and judgment as well. And be at peace with feeling uncomfortable, because life is messy. Life contains unwanted things. Life is not always bliss. Sometimes it means having a breakdown, and actually that's okay. It's part of the human condition. You know, so many of the issues that I see in the people that I'm working with actually have to do with the fact that they have suppressed their emotions and they have buried their emotions. And then what happens is, you know, either eventually that will turn into some kind of an illness, and if it doesn't turn into an illness, then it definitely is. Well, it's like if you're storing all of these pastime experiences within your space, then those are the frequencies that you're vibrating at. And the universe does its very best to match whatever frequency you're vibrating at. So if you have stored fear, pain, judgment, grief, and so on, then until you allow that to flow through you, until you fully express it, while you are carrying that around within you, the universe will deliver more of the same. So it's really, really important to allow yourself to experience your emotions fully. And of course, healing can't come from a place of being inauthentic or being in a space of denial. And so you've got to accept exactly where you are. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't cover it up with facades, pretending that you're all right. Accept completely where you are, because it's only in accepting completely where you are that you are able to move forward. I think a great analogy is if you think that you're in Russia, but actually you're in Abbotsford, then you're not going to be able to move forward, because you have no clue about, if you think you're in Russia, you have no clue about how to orient yourself around Abbotsford. So it's really important to accept where you are. And of course, all the spiritual practices can be really helpful for this. Favorite one is meditation. I'm sure there are other ways as well, but meditation is fantastic because it helps you to still your mind, it helps you to turn within, and it helps you to tune in to yourself and what's really going on in your life. My passion is about teaching people to activate and use their spiritual abilities, and these are also fantastic tools for helping to support authenticity and to support achieving a state of enlightenment, because they allow you to sense the truth, they allow you to see the truth, they allow you to hear the truth, to feel the truth, and to know the truth. In my opinion, it's really important to acknowledge and develop your spiritual gifts because it helps you to take charge of your life. If you want to request a particular topic, then you can also email me at info@drlesleyphillips.com. And we are now taking your calls. So, here we go. Hello. Do we have a call, Corey?
No, we don't have a call, but we did just receive an email from Jerry. And Jerry has a question on authenticity. He says, basically he's saying that it's very difficult for him to be authentic because he's worried about people not liking him. What does he do?
Okay, so Jerry is worried about people not... So he's a people pleaser. Jerry's a people pleaser. So hold on a second, Jerry, and we'll tune into your energy and take a look at what is going on. Well, it looks like, Jerry, that in your childhood, you were kind of trained by your parents to, to be basically pleasing them. And it looks like that's the way that you received validation as a child. You didn't receive validation for being yourself and for being authentic. And so you learned that the best way to get other people's attention was by being inauthentic and by presenting a facade that was in alignment with how they wanted you to be, as opposed to how you really were. And so I'm seeing that the best way for you to get out of that really is it really is. You just got to stop, let go of your need to please other people. All right, so I'm going to see if there's another call. And of course, even though today's subject has been about authenticity and enlightenment, remember, you can call in about absolutely anything. So don't worry if your question is a relationship question or some other kind of question. That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to see if we have any other questions. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Dr. Lesley.
Hi.
I have a question that was emailed in last week that we didn't get to as well. And this is a question from Denise. And Denise asks, will I accomplish my goal of healing myself so that I can feel confident in helping others do the same?
Great question. All right, so let's take a look at that question for Denise and look at her goal of healing herself because she wants to become a healer and she wants to help other people. Yeah, and just for the listeners out there, it takes me a little moment to tune in because I'm actually going into a really light trance and tuning into Denise's energy directly. So, well, a couple of things, and I want to say, Denise, about this. And, you know, somebody once gave me some really good advice, and it was, in my case, it was about becoming a spiritual teacher. In your case, it's about being a healer, and it would go something like this. You don't become a healer by sitting at home perfecting yourself. You become a healer by getting out there and healing. And so you don't have to be perfectly healed yourself in order for you to assist and help other people. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, let's just take a look at... the other thing I would say is that two things when I look at your energy. One is that you're actually not as grounded as you could be. And it is really important when doing any spiritual practice, and especially if you're being a healer, it's so important to be grounded. And what grounding will do for you is it will anchor your high frequency energy into your body, and it will give you a conduit for releasing energy. And this is a primary way in which you can heal yourself, Denise, because you can use that grounding to assist you in letting go in whatever it is that you're wanting to let go of in order to heal yourself. But it's also in doing your work as a healer and working with other people, it really assists you to be releasing foreign energy. Because this is one of the big issues that healers face is, they will give a healing to a client or a friend or somebody, and they will take on that person's issue themselves, whether it's, physical pain or an emotional issue. And so if you can really make sure that you're grounded, then instead of you hanging on to that other person's problem, then what will happen is that you will be able to release it and let it go. And I'm just being signaled that there's an actual phone call coming in. And so I hope that's helped you, Denise. And if not, you can write to me at info@drlesleyphillips.com, and we're going to move along to the next call. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Lesley. I've got Carol on the line, and she's got a question for you.
Well, that's
so, Carol, go right ahead.
Fantastic. Hi, Carol. Hello, Carol.
Hello, Dr. Lesley?
Yeah, hello. Hi, what's your question, Carol?
My question is, it's nothing related to authenticity, but it's more about, past lives.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah, your question doesn't have to be related to the subject of the day.
I wanted to know, why we do not remember, our past lives when we're, here, I guess, living our life. And how, is there anyone in my life currently that was in my past, potentially? That's my question.
Okay, sure. So I might answer the second question first.
Sure.
And you've cast quite a wide net. So you've said, is there anyone in my life currently that was in a past life? And without even reading you, Carol, I know that the answer is yes, because we incarnate in soul groups. So most people, that you are close with in any lifetime are people that you've incarnated with before. So what you can actually do is, if you give me the name of a couple of people that you're really curious about, I'll scan your past life timeline and see if I can find some specific lives that to give you some examples of lives that you've had with them. So there are a couple of people.
Do you just need their first name?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say Patty.
Right.
Can I give a couple more names?
Sure.
Ken.
Yeah.
Angela.
Yeah.
Curtis.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, so give me a moment, Carol, and I'll tune in and And by the way, normally what I do with a past life reading is, because rather than it be for entertainment, it's for the purpose of spiritual growth. And so I always like to just take a quick look at you and what's going on in your life right now, and then we can maybe bring up some past lives that give you some relevant information.
Okay,
and
sure.
I'll just going to very, very quickly do that. Now, in any lifetime, we go through many cycles of growth and change. You probably know that by now in your life. Things are always changing. There's always new challenges coming along. And I'm actually seeing that right now you are at the very beginning of a new growth cycle. And the new growth cycle has to do with... It's really about you searching for your truth and searching for your joy. So it's almost like it's a cycle about life direction. Where am I going to focus my efforts, and where am I going to focus my energy in terms of my life direction? Because I'm wanting to choose something that's going to make me happy and make me be fulfilled. So I feel like you're at the beginning of a soul-searching cycle. Anyway, I'm going to take a look down your timeline and... see if I can catch any of these other characters that you've told me about. So I'm actually seeing a whole slew of recent past lives that are lighting up. So when I look at your timeline, if we look at the top of the timeline is recent history and the bottom of the timeline is ancient history, the top quarter of that timeline, there's multiple past lives lighting up in relation to the people that you've asked about. And so I'm going to just look at one of them to begin with and see what we get. And I'm actually seeing you in a male body in this lifetime. And it looks like it's somewhere in Europe because you're a Caucasian person. Give me a moment. Because where I'm actually seeing you, it's very muddy and very rainy, and it looks like you are out working on something in the pouring rain and in the mud, and it certainly looks like it's a farm and a farming community, and I feel that it is in. I want to say it's in Germany. It's in mainland Europe. And I'm only seeing you at the moment, so let's see. And actually, what it actually looks like is that you had a horse-drawn cart, and somehow the horse-drawn cart has had an accident, and the horses have been taken off the cart, and I guess you've tied them to a tree, and you're trying to fix whatever's broken. And so there are some other people sitting in the cart, and their children and your wife, basically, of that time. And so I feel like the person that you called Patty is one of the children, and I'm going to take a look and see if there's anybody else from these four people that you mentioned. I feel that Curtis was also a child of yours in that lifetime, although at the point that I'm looking at it, he's not been born yet. And looks like the other two people might be family members as well, although they're not in this cart. Anyway, one of the things that is coming up, and you tell me if this rings true for you, but one of the things that's coming up when I look at you in this lifetime is, big responsibility. You're feeling so responsible for your family, so responsible for the farm that you're involved in running, and so it looks as though some of that responsibility for others' stuff may bleed into the current lifetime. And so it looks like one of the things that at least some of these characters are in your life for this lifetime, or they're assisting you with helping you realize that you don't have to be responsible for everybody else. But because, of course, when we're responsible for others, it's kind of like saying, oh, you poor thing, you can't look after yourself. And, of course, everyone is completely capable of looking after themselves. So that's one lifetime that came up. I'll see if there's another one that we can quickly dip into. I'm seeing another lifetime. This time you're in a female body, and it looks like Europe again, but it looks like you're in a wealthier setting. Mm-hmm. So you're in a female body, and you've got really nice clothes on, and it's in the summer, so you've got a lovely long summer dress, and I'm going to just see. So I want to say that this is, let me just see where it is. I feel that you travelled in this lifetime, so you weren't necessarily just stuck in one place, but France is coming up, and maybe even Russia is coming up. Mm-hmm. And again, let me see if I can see any of these other friends these other people that you've mentioned and their relation to you. So, I'm seeing someone pop up there. They're in a male body in the lifetime that I'm looking at, and they're older than you, and they're kind of like somebody who would be like a guardian or an uncle type person. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, it's the reverse of what I was saying in the other lifetime, because it seems like this person takes responsibility for you. Right. And because you are really well off, you don't really have much of a care in terms of, how to look after yourself. Everything's taken care of. But they take responsibility for you in terms of, because it's that whole social thing of needing to get you married off and find an appropriate match and make sure that you don't do anything inappropriate that's going to ruin your reputation, and making sure that you're schooled in all the proper ways of behaving and this kind of thing. And so I'm going to take a look and see which of the... So I feel that this is this Curtis person again who is showing up here as this guardian. Let me see if I can find the two that you mentioned that we haven't seen yet, which is Ken and Angela. Well, I'm seeing in this lifetime Ken is also in a male body, and he is somebody who, well, when I see him, he's actually rather overweight and enjoys eating a lot.
Okay.
And so again, he just looks like he's a wealthy older relative, another wealthy older relative in this lifetime. And Angela, let's see. So Angela, it looks like, is in a female body, and she is someone who ends up being your friend in this lifetime. A bit later on, after you're married, and looks like she's actually lives in Russia, but somehow you travel to Russia, and this is a friend of yours. So that gives you a very, very quick, little glimpse into some of the past lives and some of the interrelations. And I guess to use this as a little bit of a teaching, that, the members of our soul group, in one lifetime you can have somebody and they're your father. In another lifetime they're your daughter, and it's the same soul, and so on. So the relationships can shift around and change around. So the first question that you asked is, well, why don't we remember? And I will give you my take on that. And well, the first thing to say is, you don't remember, but you can actually learn to access the information just as I've been doing. But the reason you don't remember, let me explain it this way. So you are not your physical body. You are actually a high vibration, eternal, spiritual being of love and light that creates in multiple dimensions of reality. So the energy that you are and the conscious that you are is, like I said, it's huge, it's eternal, versus the aspect of consciousness that is inhabiting your body is but a piece of that eternal consciousness or that soul. So that soul is projecting an aspect of its consciousness into this physical body, which is you, Carol, right? And so this physical presence, which is you, Carol, cannot contain the entirety of energy and information of the soul that has projected you forward into this lifetime. Do you see? So it's a question of capacity. As spirit, we're not limited by time and space, and we're eternal and so on. But in three-dimensional physical reality, we are limited by time and space. And so one reason is it's just not possible to get all your information into this body. But the other reason is, and you don't need it. You don't need the information of when you were a nomadic tribesman in the Kalahari Desert. It hasn't got any relevance to you living in, in Canada in the 21st century. And so, that's another reason why you don't remember. And also, it's like in each lifetime you have a reason for coming. I mean, the reason is always to expand your consciousness. It's always to evolve and to grow and to expand. But, you might... So, for example, the lifetimes that we read, there was a little bit going on there about learning about responsibility and non-responsibility. And that was the focus. And so, that's where you're, focusing your attention. But, the lifetime in the Kalahari Desert as a nomadic tribesman, the focus might have been just learning to survive. Another lifetime in, I don't know, the Ming Dynasty in China, you could have been learning about, I don't know, power struggles or something completely different. And so, do you see what I'm trying to say? It's like this aspect of consciousness in your body personality is a portion of the entirety of your being.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for all the information.
Oh, you're very welcome, Carol, and thank you so much for phoning into the show today.
Thank you, Dr. Lesley.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night. Here we are. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Lesley. I have another email that's come in for you, and this is from Jillian. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I have been battling with a serious long-term illness. I do not want this struggle to damage the relationship to my beloved soulmate. Could you please help me so I can still be loving and positive towards him despite my health issues?
Okay. Yeah, well, let's take a look at that for you, Gillian. So bear with me a moment and I'll tune in to your energy. Okay, yes. So, it does look like you're experiencing some debilitation there. And I'm going to just take a look at you because the question was about you in relationship to your partner. And I can see because your physical body is suffering, it looks like it's really sometimes, if not most of the time, quite difficult for you to rise above the physical problems that you're having. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a healing while I'm looking at you, Gillian, and then as I heal you, your energy will change and I'll get some more information. But I mean, really, the key to everything in your life is you. And the way that you can change your external reality is to change your internal reality. So ultimately, healing yourself, is the answer to all of this. And I'm just giving you a bit of a healing now, because I'm seeing that one of the things that you do is you hold on to a lot of self-judgment. And I wouldn't be surprised if all of that self-judgment has actually contributed to the development. I mean, you don't say what the illness is that you have, but I'm seeing, that in your system you're carrying an enormous amount of self-judgment. So you beat yourself up a lot, you criticize yourself a lot. And so here you are, you're unwell, and, and not being terribly compassionate to yourself. Instead, judging yourself for not being able to give what you think that you should be able to give to your partner. And so, if I was to give you one tip, Gillian, it would be really watch your thoughts, and, as you're starting to, beat up on yourself, just, let it go, let it dissolve. And the more you love yourself, then the more love that you're going to have to, to be able to give to your partner. So we have another call coming in, and so I'm going to switch to the other call now. Thanks for your question, Gillian. I think we have another call. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Lesley. I have Jane on the call with me. She's just turning her radio down, and she'll be right back with you.
Great.
Hello.
Hello, Jane. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How about you, Dr. Laura?
I'm not Dr. Laura. I'm Dr. Lesley.
Dr. Lesley, I'm sorry. I don't know where that Dr. Laura came from. Okay, my question is...
Yeah. Fire away.
Which I haven't heard from my boyfriend on the island. His name's Mike. I usually talk on Skype. I haven't heard from him in about a month or so. I'm just wondering if he's okay.
Wow. Gosh. Okay, Jane. So Mike, and he's on the island. And so let me just take a look at...
Nanaimo specifically.
Okay. Yeah, let me just take a look for you at that. Oh, and one thing I haven't mentioned to the callers, but I'll just mention it to you. It's important when I'm tuning into your energy. It sounds odd, but if you could keep your eyes open.
Oh, certainly. There you go. That better?
Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at you and Mike. And you've got no reason to, suspect that anything was wrong, and the last time you spoke to him, everything was normal, was it?
Yeah.
Well, he looks all right to me. I'm not seeing. When I look at his energy frequency, he actually looks happy. So just give me a moment.
Okay.
How long have you been together, Jane?
A little over a year or so.
So I'm going to take a look at your energy and see if we can give
Do
you
you think
some...
that he'll be able to contact me soon?
So one of the things I don't do is I don't do future time predictions. I'm going to take a look at your energy and then the energy that's going on in between the two of you.
Okay.
So, but just bear with me. I can say is, I mean, I don't. He looks happy. He doesn't. I'm not sure what he's focusing on or what he's doing, but whatever it is, he looks happy, and you know, and you, if we take a look at you, you look concerned, you look worried, you look. It's almost like part of you is hoping and part of you is feeling invalidated and, you know, rejected. And so, and, you know, it looks like what it's done for you is it's lit up some old wounds, really. And so it's not even, for you, it's not even just about him. It's about all the times before you even ever knew him, where you felt, you know, rejected, where you felt, you know, that you'd been, well, yeah, rejected is the word, left alone, not cared for, not validated. And I'm seeing it's not even just to do with boyfriends, you know. It even, like, as for most of us, it goes back into your childhood when you were a little girl. And so, you know, really, whenever we face a challenge in life, it is always an opportunity for us to heal ourselves. And so, you know, you can turn it around and say, well, you know, regardless of what the outcome is here, he's doing me a favor right now because he's pointing out to me where I am not healed, where I am still storing pain within myself from previous times in my life. That's what I would offer you, really.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips. For more information, go to her website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com, where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. Come back again.